what happened today, in my opinion, I would be a little bit more, willing to believe what Scott Miller had to say here if we didn't have something that surfaced on Twitter. And what I'm talking about is some fan shared a video that came from the front stretch grandstands as the cars were on the back stretch. So about 3/4 of a lap before the incident happened. And it was clearly raining. It wasn't just the fans saying that it was raining. You could tell from the camera that, drizzle was coming down. And the cars were still on the backstretch going into turn 3 as this was happening. So from my estimate, if that's the case, the rain was probably moving in very lightly on the front stretch and in turns 1 and 2 at that point. So we have that video evidence from, some amateur footage from the fans in the stands here. Why on earth would NASCAR, knowing that these cars, obviously based on the laws of physics, cannot run in the rain on 31 degrees of banking at Daytona, why would they not throw the caution out, expecting that maybe this is just a pop-up shower, and maybe if we keep the cars running under caution, we can restart the race and, just have it be, one of those phantom yellows? I think is a better scenario than what we got, versus letting them run green as long as they absolutely could and into wet turns 1 and 2. And then we obviously saw the end result there. So I think there was an opportunity here today for NASCAR to be a little bit more cautious and throw a caution and prevent what was Justin Marks' estimate there, $4 million worth of damage. It's very, very unfortunate what happened for a lot of these teams. Now, it did give the smaller teams like Live Fast and Rick Ware and Beard Oil Motorsports an opportunity to shine and get top 10 finishes, which is great. But for the teams that we usually see running up at the front, and especially considering the implications of this being a playoff race, I really think NASCAR dropped the ball on this one. They should have been a little bit more assertive to get on the caution lights and prevent such an incident from happening.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I mean, you could see me all just shaking my head. It's just, as somebody who doesn't pay much attention to like Formula One, I hear a lot of people always say how the FI is very inconsistent. But just watching NASCAR this year as a fan, the inconsistency is just, it's insane. It really is. They'll throw the caution flag when Ryan Blaney's 10 feet away from winning the All-Star race. They won't throw the caution flag when Kyle Busch Truex takes himself out at Loudon. And then there's rain. I was reading stuff on Twitter too. Justin Haley, the amount of F-bombs heard on Justin Haley's radio saying it's raining, it's raining. I'm just a little surprised though that nobody lifted. Like, everyone saw the rain. The drivers knew it, the spotters knew it before they threw the caution, but yet nobody lifted. And then I think there was only 5 cars that were considered not in an incident out of the 37 that competed in the race today. Like, that's an insane thing. So, I mean, it is hard. You can't predict the weather. Even the weather people can't extremely predict the weather. But, like, I think Suarez also said something like, NASCAR has it down to a T where they know what it's coming. Obviously, you'll see Bob Hocker share all the weather, the radar on Twitter. It's just an unfortunate circumstance that wiped out, more than half the field at the end of the day. Going back to green, where there are only like 10 cars on the lead lap or something like that. It was crazy. And then I got to see the last 4 laps, and there was only 4 cars running up near front. Now the whole rest of the pack separated at the time I saw it. It was just crazy. I mean, as a fan, I don't know what to say with NASCAR's inconsistencies. They got to figure something out. The ratings aren't doing as terrible, but like, I think a lot of people are starting to look at it and be like, really? But like you said, Ben, it's great for these cars that they still don't interview. Like, Cody Ware finished 6th. Rick Ware had 2 top 10s. That's the first time in NASCAR Cup Series history that happened. Yet no attention for them. It's very unfortunate. BJ McCool finished 7th, I believe, too. Landon Castle finished 4th. Great day for those because of the rain. Great day for those guys, but it's like, as a fan, you want to be rewarded. I'm sorry for talking so long, but as a fan, you want to be rewarded seeing those guys finish in those positions. But at the same time, you see all those guys who had tremendous cars this entire race. This happens, and then all of a sudden, guys who you think are going to have a legitimate shot at the playoffs, Blaney, who would just had to have a nice day, he wrecked before, but then the rain everyone wrecked. So it was unfortunate. I think it was very inconsistent. Could you have done something different? Yeah, but that happened a few hours ago. So, I mean, there's nothing we can do about it now.
And Matt, to go back to your earlier point about not lifting, I think drivers probably, if they had known the situation that was coming, maybe some of the drivers at the back, and I think you did see some drivers at the back kind of drive their way through, namely the back markers that we usually see, running down in the 20s and 30s who got top 10s today, and that's great for them. But At the same time, the guys at the front of the pack, obviously, they know that the caution could come any minute, could potentially end the race. I don't necessarily expect us to be able to believe that they are going to lift in that situation. So that's, just an unfortunate part of something that comes with super speedway racing. You can't lift, even though lifting is the only way you're going to be able to preserve your car. It's just inevitable when a situation like that happens that you're going to get torn up. And I also agree with your point on the coverage. I was very disappointed that we didn't get more interviews, particularly during the rain delay with some of the smaller teams that were running up front. It's also unfortunate that we're racing in Florida in late August, where it rains pretty much every day. We have to deal with these issues on the regular here, and ending up having the race at 10 a.m. on a news and business channel, literally the consumer news and business channel, CNBC. It's very frustrating that, I even saw ESPN's own Marty Smith was asking, what channel's the race on? I can't find it. I mean, you don't expect the playoff cutoff race for NASCAR, what's supposed to be one of the biggest event of the regular season, probably outside of Daytona 500 or any of the Crown Jewels, and it's on a business channel at 10 a.m. Now, I know NBC shut down NBCSN. They had schedule conflicts with USA. There was nothing really they could do, but it's just an unfortunate situation that, look, I know you can't predict the weather, but you're less likely to have that if you're not racing in Florida in late August, where it rains all the time. So, there's a lot for NASCAR to improve on here, and I think the coverage is certainly one of those things. Race control, another one of those things as well.
And maybe NASCAR should have listened to Chase Elliott and went to Bristol instead, because looking at the radar last night, it wasn't raining in Bristol at all. And I don't know about you guys, but I think running the Bristol night race as the final race before the playoffs, I think that would be really exciting. Short track beating and banging, tempers flaring. I think that just get back to the roots of old school NASCAR that we all know and love, and getting back to NASCAR not throwing the caution in time before it rained. And you think, considering this type of racing, you're on a super speedway, you're running 190 to 200 miles per hour on a tight pack. This is the last type of track where you need something like that to happen, and that because somebody could really get hurt